What's up guys, Jeribas here, and today honestly I wasn't really feeling the urge to create anything. I just wasn't in the mood, but hey, I made a promise. YouTube, 3 weeks, this is my third video, fulfilling the promise, yeah. By the way, I am super excited too at the same time because last week's video hit 1k views. That is crazy guys, that is crazy, thank you so much. And yeah, YouTube analytics not told me, but basically that's what the statistics is saying. Most of you that watched the video are not subscribed. Why? Please pause this video, go and subscribe and come back. Once you're back, yep. Alright, let's get into the studio and start today's video. Peace. Welcome back guys. Well, as I said in the beginning, I wasn't really motivated to create anything, but then I stumbled upon one artist's Instagram that was kind of inspiring. It was really good. This guy, I'll put his page, you can just check it and check him out. His concepts are beautiful and his images are just so amazing. So I decided to recreate one of his artwork and see how I could go with it. So yeah, that is what this video is about, but I think I'm kind of getting sick of the same position all the time, so let me just go and sit on the couch and talk to you guys. Yeah, let's go. Alright, so we need to create a character for our artwork, and for that let's launch up Daz Studio. In Daz Studio I have this character that is actually one of my favorites. She is called Lanya. She's called Lanya, and I use Lanya because she has good textures and everything. So yeah, after I import her, I have to export her out again as an OBJ file. I would explain why I did that in just a minute. Just wait. So after I did that, then I started posing her, and this pose required me to make her like she was in the mid-air, like she was kind of floating, that kind of thing. So it took a while to do that, but then I pushed some sliders and the normal thing, and I did it. After that I had to export the pose also. Then I did something I have never done before. I used Marvelous Designer. That is a software I like. It scares me. It's too much. That software is just too much. But yeah, for this I needed Marvelous Designer, so I just signed up for a free trial. It's not something I'm going to be using every single day, so just a trial is enough. I signed up for the first month. It's also quite expensive. Then after I did that, I imported Lanya, the character, into Marvelous Designer. Then I also started creating a simple cloth. For the simple cloth, it was basically just a rectangle that I had to simulate onto her. It was easy. So I just created that, and then I simulated it to her body. After that, I imported the pose from Daz Studio into Marvelous Designer, and this is how it was looking. She was... That chips really messed it up for me. Tastes bad. Okay, wait. Okay, so creating the cloth was actually simple. It was way simpler than I had imagined. In Daz Studio, I just loaded up the cloth to our figure, and I just had to adjust some things to fit her and all that. After it fit her, I had to give a nice shader, a texture to the cloth. I used a couple of shaders and textures, but nothing was actually working. I wasn't getting the right one, and I didn't plan to spend the whole night just figuring out which particular shader is going to be good for the cloth. So I just skipped that part, put it on hold for the meantime, and then I loaded up some library objects that I got from the Daz store. I just had to scale it up, push it around just to fit it's supposed to act as a background. After I placed the library and made all the adjustments, I brought in a book because I wanted a subject to hold a book. So I loaded up a book inside the subject, and then I tried to make it fit to her hands. It took some time, but then I did it. It was actually good. Once the book and the library was looking good, the next thing to do was the lights. And in that studio, I really don't like how the lights react. I don't like how the lights work in that studio. So what I use in that studio for lights is I create immersive objects. And if you don't know what immersive is just a fancy word for glow. So I just create a normal object and I just add glow to it. That way it can reflect light on the subject and act as a light source. So I created two objects, a rectangle and a sphere. The rectangle for the base, I made it blue so it could emit some blue light from the base side. And I also made a nice sphere light just for the whole environment. Once the light sources were done, I just had to add hair to our subjects because I don't want her to look like she's a cancer patient. By the way, no offense to cancer patients. I'm with you, stay strong. You can conquer it. So yeah, I added some hair to her and then I started making the hair look like the hair was actually floating. I made it look up. I don't know how to say it, but it just had to look like it was floating. After that, I just went back to the cloth again to figure out which material would be best to fit it, but still I didn't find any, so I moved on, I continued. Now I just wanted to add some candle lights, and for some candle lights, I just created a small ball around the image and gave it some emission orange, because candle actually emits orange light. So orange light just around the whole image where I want the candles to be like a source of reference for Photoshop, because I wasn't going to add the candle in that studio. I was going to add it in Photoshop. So now for Photoshop. In Photoshop, I was very excited because I had just purchased Pixel Squid. I don't know if you know Pixel Squid, but if you are a Photoshop artist and you don't know Pixel Squid, I recommend it. It's crazy. It's basically a website that has this amount of hundreds, maybe thousands of objects and images that you can use in your digital art, but it comes with something. When you download the image, the object is 3D, so you can basically choose any angle you want, which is mind-blowing and life-changing for digital artists. It's crazy. By the way, this video is not sponsored by Pixel Squid. I wish it was, but Pixel Squid, please come. I need sponsors. But yeah, this video is not sponsored by anyone. I just like the service and it's good. So in Pixel Squid, I started searching for the objects that I was looking for. I actually made a list. I made a list of the things that I wanted in Pixel Squid, so it would make my job way easier. After I have got everything from Pixel Squid, I just went back to Photoshop, and Pixel Squid actually has a plugin for Photoshop which makes the whole integration easier. So you basically just add from the website and it goes straight to the plugin. So you go to Photoshop and you just import everything. Super simple. So the first was some books. I imported some books because I wanted some books to fly around the hair, make it look magical and realistic at the same time. And since the objects were 3D, I got to choose any angle I wanted, which was really cool. After the book, I added a chair, and I also rotated it and tried to place it at a good place where it would make sense. After that, I added a coffee table, also did the same, rotating and trying to figure out where it would go. Then I added some candles, and lastly, I added some actual coffee. After all that, I just used a curved layer and made the background of the image darker so the subject could pop out. You could see some separation because the whole image from the 3D render was looking too flat. There was no dynamic. So I used a curved layer to create that sort of dynamic. And then I also added some blue to the midtones so it would give a night scene. If you didn't know, blue in images actually kind of make the whole image look like it was shot at night. Once that was done, I started creating highlights on the objects because there was an obvious light source from the downside of the image. And also, by the way, I get this question a lot from you guys. You guys ask me if I use a drawing tablet. Nope. I use a mouse. That is what not this particular mouse, this Apple mouse is really I use a gaming mouse for my masking and brushing and everything, not a drawing tablet. I haven't used a drawing tablet before, but I might try, see how it goes. After all the painting and masking, it was time for the candlelight. But hey, what up? Chillax. If you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get back to the video. So I created some candlelight using a solid color layer with the blend mode adjusted to linear dodge add. Now that I added some new light sources, which is the candlelight, I had to paint over some objects that were actually going to reflect the candlelight, light bounces. So I had to do that. And basically the table in the image, the chair, some books, they needed a little bit of adjustment because of the candlelight. The upper side of the image was looking too dark, so I had to fix that. I used the same layer that I used on the downside and dragged it to the top side and made that orange. Now I had to fix some render issues that happened during the cloth simulation. So I used the mixer brush and just painted over the whole thing to make it look soft. Once that was done, the next thing was particles. I just placed a lot around each light source so it gives it a realistic look. I then added a light ray to the book she was holding and more particles. After all that, I just started adding a field blur to every single object in the image. The books, the candlelight, the chair, the table, the subject, the background, everything. I added a blur. I added a field blur to it, so it gives it some form of depth. After all that, the last thing to do was color grading. So I just added a camera raw filter, pushed some dots, some sliders, and then this was how the image was looking. This was the 3D version directly from DAR Studio, and this is the final image from Photoshop. I hope you had fun watching this video. If you did, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, click like, tap like if you're using the mobile phone, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. By the way, the whole time I was looking at my script. Yeah, boy.